wake up deeper. We all know about sleeping deeply, how good it feels to have slept deeply, but what about waking up deeply? I heard the phrase waking up deeper in a podcast a few years ago, and it's always stayed with me as an Advent theme. Advent is our church season which calls us to focus our hearts and minds on the coming of the Christ child. Many of the Advent readings and hymns have the theme of staying awake, staying alert, being watchful. But what are we keeping awake for? And why do we need to be more deeply awake? The earliest Christians thought they needed to keep awake literally in case Jesus returned. You better not be asleep when Jesus comes back. It wouldn't be a good look. But we would interpret those passages today more to mean that we need to be watchful and alert and awake to the signs of Christ's presence amongst us. Not something in the future, but something that we need to see here and now. We simply need to have eyes to see. Isaiah the prophet, who is working in the 700s BC, is working at a time when Jerusalem is coming under siege from all sides. And we are told this is the word that Isaiah saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem. Isaiah didn't write or say some words, he saw them, he cast a vision. And he saw nations gathering in peace on the holy mountain of Jerusalem. And their swords will be made into ploughs for ploughing the fields, and spears will be used as pruning hooks for pruning the vines. Those wonderful images that have been images of peacemaking down through the centuries. Weapons of war will become tools of peacetime. Isaiah saw that it could be possible. Isaiah was deeply awake. But the people were less awake. They could not see possibilities for peace. They could not see what Isaiah could see. And eventually Jerusalem would fall, and Isaiah's vision would become something very much longed for in the future, far away future, out of reach. And so when Jesus is talking with his disciples, he's answering the disciples' question, what will be the sign of your coming and of the end of the age? When will everything finally be put to right like Isaiah promised us? When will the visions of all the prophets come to pass? When will we see what they saw? But Jesus says about that day and hour, no one knows. Don't try and predict it in the future. It's interesting sometimes when some people try and predict and say when Jesus is going to return, when Jesus specifically says, don't do it. He says, instead, be ready now, be ready always, wake up deeper. Our Advent themes of hope and peace and joy and love also call us to be awake and to notice. Today we lit the candle of hope. What signs of hope do we see in front of us right now? It's a bit tough in the world as it is at the moment to see signs of hope. There's lots of doom and gloom around, but we're called to see signs of hope at the same time. And we have a couple of signs with us today. We have a new priest and a new deacon. For those of you who are visiting with us today or from other places, Amanda was ordained priest yesterday and Jack's ordained deacon a week ago, so it's their first gig running the show. So I think that's a sign of hope, that two people from our midst are willing to commit themselves to God's service. In the ordination service, the bishop prays that the candidate will be empowered by God's grace. Grace which is gentle as a dove and living, burning as fire, all at the same time. Beautiful imagery, gentle as a dove and living, burning as fire. The bishop prays for grace that will allow Amanda and Jax to wake up deeper every day. And I think it's worthy of note that neither of them are following the traditional path of clergy of my generation and before. Amanda has a full-time secular job, and Jax will be working half-time for her parish in Wellington when she moves, and half-time doing study or half-time later on working in the real world. So when Amanda presides at the Eucharist today and on other Sundays going forward, she's bringing with her her work in the real world, the challenges of joys in working in our health sector, which of course is more challenge than joy at the moment, but she brings all of that with her to the altar. It's not a separate thing out there and then it's church here. As a priest, she brings all of that to the altar. Like when Linda presides, she brings the city mission with her. Kate and I, more immersed in the parish, we bring the parish and the city, we bring the people we've met with during the week, prayers sought and offered. But it's kind of different for someone working out in the world that you all work in as lay people. We all carry grace and gifts of the week and bring them with us. But Amanda today brings something that's closer to your experience as lay people. She's like a bridge, bringing God's world into God's church. And we're celebrating another sign of hope today, another bridge, another connection with our world, because today our digital platform is live. This has been a 2-year project where we've explored how to build on the digital work we learnt to do in the lockdowns, and we've been live streaming since then, hi live streamers, but we wanted to do something more. We wanted to try and build up a library of our digital work so we could revisit it and reuse it really easily and make better connections with those who follow us in the digital world. I think for my generation and older, the digital world can be seen as just an add-on, something that we use and then put away in our pockets. You know, we get our phones out and we use it and then we put it away. But anyone younger than me and more, anyone born after, say, 1990, well, the digital world is the world. There's not a separation. It's like our faith and life. Digital and our world are the same things. And so therefore, of course, we as a church must be present in that world and use its tools to reach out. So for those of you watching the live stream today, your feed will still be found in the same place on our website and on Facebook. But if you'd like to look more deeply for material on certain themes or topics, then head over to the platform and use the search bar, which is right at the top. It's an invitation for you to begin. There is facility for you to make comments. We're hoping to start a conversation about some of our material. The basics of the platform are done. The framework is there, but the next phase, in a sense, is going to be up to you, its users. I've got a content plan of things we're going to film over the next few months, but it can be changed. It's going to be guided by you. What would you like us to discuss? What would you like us to ponder? What would you like us to pray about? How can we support each other in the exploration and development of our faith? What can we wake up to? What kind of vision can we cast? So as we begin again the season of Advent, as we begin again the cycle of worship for the next year, be awake, watch for signs of hope, and be acts of hope. If we do this, we do not have to wait vainly for a future time when Christ will return. We're going to find that Christ is here, ready to meet us, face to face, and even screen to screen.